So, what if some of the most important leadership lessons aren't learned after you've made it, but while you're still building? Welcome to Women Who Lead. I'm your host, Teresa Palacios Smith, and I'm so glad you're here. Today is especially exciting because we're wrapping up our three-part Next Wave Leaders, featuring members of the Berkshire Hathaway Home Services REthink Council. And over the past three episodes, we've met some remarkable women who are challenging conventional thinking, creating new opportunities, and helping shape what's next. And today is no difference. Our last grouping is joining me to close out the series. Cayce, Levine, Ambre, Carlton, Ambre, Theroux, and Gabriela Huson. Different markets, different journeys, different perspectives, but all four are building businesses, finding their voices, and creating an impact in their own way. So grab your cafecito, get ready, and let's get started. So I first of all, welcome all of you. I'm excited that you're on our Women Who Lead broadcast. And the first thing I always want to know is because, tell us how you got started in real estate. Was it by choice or by chance? Tell us a little bit about your market, the clients you serve, and what first draw you to this business. And I'm going to start with you, Ambry.
So I am currently located in Northern Connecticut, but I am originally from Western Massachusetts. My journey started back in 2023. I kind of was on the path of, I got my MBA, I was taking over a family business, was in that corporate setting, was in a man's world of an industry as well. And I was like, I need more. I don't want to be stuck in this office. I don't want to be stuck in this building. I need something that has a glass ceiling that I can go. Like, I just need something different. I need to be able to talk with people. I need to be able to relate. I like networking. What can I get into? So I kind of used my own experience of purchasing a home and said, that was kind of unique. That was kind of fun. What can I learn about that? So I started taking my classes. I finished my classes in 2 months, got my license, and hit the ground running and said, I think this is really what I was meant to do. So able to bring in my business background into this business, but also be able to set expectations and move forward and work with buyers and sellers and just kind of go about it and make it a good, fun process.
What business were you in? Like, what was it different from real estate?
Yeah, so I was in electroplating. So the coating of steels with nickel coating. My grandfather actually started and founded the business. We had a surface coating that is unique to us and only was unique to us. So that was a lot in the military, aerospace, naval, all of that world too. So completely different than real estate.
So totally different and so surprised. I was like not expecting that at all.
No.
So very unique and very different. And then, of course, I could see how that transition was perfect for you because you are so social and you really like, the networking aspect of meeting people. How about you, Gabriela? What got you into real estate?
Yes, I am in sunny Santa Barbara.
Beautiful.
I grew up here and I purchased my home during COVID and I purchased a complete fixer. I started working with my contractor and I got really into just bringing an idea to life. And I was working with my contractor and thought, you know what, maybe I could do more in the real estate world. Why don't I go get my license? And so then I got my license and I kind of told someone I knew from a long time ago, I said, now what? And so I met with another realtor and then I hit the ground running. I've been in the industry for about 2 years and I got Rookie of the Year my first year. They said, you're not going to make your first sale in the first year. And I had 9 transactions my first
Oh,
year. Um, I work with a mix of families, first-time buyers, investors, people looking to make a move within the community. And I just love the relationship that we develop in real estate. A little bit about my market. Total sales volume last month was 346 million. We did over $4 billion in our region last year. Our median sales price is 2.2 million. And so it kind of shows where we're at in Santa Barbara, California, a little different from all over the US, but we have 221 homes on the market now, and we're coming into a busy season. So excited about
Wow. First of all, to have 9 transactions the first year that you're in business, which again, 80% of agents don't even do a transaction, okay, in their first year, according to the National Association of Realtors. So again, impressive numbers. And also the fact that you're in such a high-end market that I know that there's a lot of competition. Realtors, there's probably 125 for every one buyer. Gabriela, says a lot about you. So congratulations and
Thank
excited that
you.
you are
Thank
doing
you.
so. And Amber, how about you?
Yes. So right now I'm in Cabo on vacation, but my market is Fargo, North Dakota, and Lakes area, Minnesota, which is very different than the scene behind me as we speak, and very, very different from Gabriela's. Our average sales price is 360,000. So those numbers look a lot different where I'm from. But a wonderful community, good, hardworking people. I got into real estate for a couple of different reasons. One, I wanted to help people achieve their dreams. Two, I really wanted to get into interior design. And I do still love design selections, but when I was getting into real estate in the Denver, Colorado market, I was there for 3 years before moving home to Fargo. I wanted to get into staging, and I did, and I hated it. I was like totally overglorified mover, not for me. I will help my clients pick selections. I will help my builders come up with beautiful curated properties, but the actual staging, not for this girl. And it all worked out.
It does. And it's so funny because, it is one of those things where you never get, people have to agree with the furniture selections and you're like, come on, this is really going to work. So, thanks again. And how about you, Casey? Because you're in a different role. So you're in leadership
Yeah.
within our North Carolina companies. So how did you get into your role? And I know you said you sold real estate initially. So, and you kind of lead this whole group,
Yeah, so
right?
I'm a broker. I'm the broker, one of the broker advisors of the REthink Council this year. I started 11, 12 years ago. I can't remember if it was 2015, 2016 at this point. So I think what, 11 years maybe. I started as an agent, and I'm in the Raleigh-Cary area now of North Carolina. Um, I've always been a goal person. I love a goal. The more goal you give me, the more I want to crush it. And where I was in my life, I started in healthcare. And healthcare is amazing, but there's a ceiling of what you can earn. You have somebody else telling you, hey, this is what you're going to make. And the people who are in the healthcare industry are amazing, and you have to be the right person for that. But I wanted more, and I didn't want anybody to tell me that what my ceiling was. And entrepreneurship doesn't have a ceiling. Now it also has a bottom, so you can make nothing or everything depending on what you put into it. I was never going to let that be an option. And that was why I did it. I only saw potential. And I, love working with people. I love a process, and I knew I could help people with that and, grow to the whatever I wanted to be. And then about 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, an opportunity arose in this office. I started in this Carrie Morrisville office. I've always been with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices. And my family was changing. My what I kind of wanted out of the business was changing. And Maria Kazakis, our president, and me and I were talking, and this leadership opportunity came up, and I was like, I'm ready for it. Let's do it. And now I've been able to start in this office and now lead this office has been amazing. And so, you just never know where you're going to start in this business. You think you might start staging, working with builders, or, whatever you're doing, and just the sky's the limit. And that's what I love about real estate the most, right? Because I would have never thought I would have been here today. And I love it so much.
And wow, what a story too to get into and then realize that you wanted a different path because I love how all of you have had different paths into this business and how different it can be. But one thing that I really think is interesting is experience as a way of being funny, of changing what we thought we knew. So one question that I always like to know is what's something that you believed when you started your career? And Casey, this is kind of a little bit with you that you no longer believe today. And what changed your mind about that? So I'll start with you again,
Oh
Casey.
gosh.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that stands out, and I think this happens with a lot of people starting in this business, especially with just my encounters when I'm talking to agents who are starting out today, you don't realize I think everybody goes in thinking, I'm going to sell real estate, right? They're selling houses, and that's such a small part of the business. I don't think people think that you are starting a business. As much as I was like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, it just not crossed my mind that I was building a whole business, and I'm the marketing person and I'm my own accountant and I'm, lead genning and I'm, project manager. I'm all of these pieces. I don't think we think that, or at least I didn't. And I think a lot of agents don't think about, and I think that's the biggest thing for me was, oh, this is a business that you are everything of.
Wow, such insightful, message because it is true. People, and they also have this misconception that we make so much money in real estate. And if you look at the breakdown of the hours that are worked, it really turns to not be that, it's just more you're passionate about it, right? Anyone else want to pipe in with that answer, with an answer?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I used to think being successful meant always being busy. And now I realize that being intentional with my time is what it's all about. I think that goes a long way, especially beginning in the industry. I was like, oh, they're so busy. My phone's not ringing. And who am I supposed to be calling? And then, finding the right people and building those relationships is key to this business.
That is, again, a great answer because it's so true. Time management is
Mhm.
so key in how you use it and who you pursue. And there's some people that you don't want to pursue, right?
Mhm.
Because the time that you spend on them is not worth it.
Mhm.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I can piggyback on that. I mean, when I first started out too, I was like, busy means that I'm building, right? And it means that I'm going somewhere, I'm laying out the time, I'm putting in the time, just like a normal job where you would put in the time and you're going to start scaling. And I started doing showings. I was using a lead system in the beginning and I wasn't connecting with the clients and I wasn't feeling like I had a great experience or was giving them a great experience because it was so transactional that made me readjust what I saw as being purposeful and intentful with my time versus saying, "Oh, I'm busy and I have 8 showings today." So that was a big adjustment when I first started to now of what that matters.
So
Mhm.
smart, so smart. All right. Well, one thing that I know is hard for everyone is to do something that you've never done before. And or something and that's when growth happens, right? When you're really scared to death. So what's one decision that made you so scared but that once you did it, you completely it changed your life or it changes your career? And I'll start with you, Amber.
Yes. So this one is, I had this one circled. This is like my favorite question. So betting big on yourself, right? Betting big, investing big in yourself and your business, hiring a professional coach. I personally have a life and business coach. And like that well-rounded is so important, not just focusing on business, because if you're not good, nothing's that good. It's changed my life. It's changed my business. That and hiring an assistant, which was pretty much the first thing my life and business coach was on me about is hire an assistant. And I still drug my feet on that one pretty hard, but it's been a game changer having somebody to do all the minutia work so that I can start to get out of the sea, you know,
To do
get
what's
buried.
important. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, who do you but just so others know, like
Yeah.
what coaching system do you use? Or are you with Tom Ferry
Yeah.
or Mike or any of the
No,
yeah.
it's like all around, right? Her name is Dr. Tiffany Johnson. She's also a chiropractor. She's a holistic healer, and it focuses on women primarily and the whole thing, life and business.
Beautiful. Gabriela, how about you?
I think she took the words out of my mouth on betting on myself. When you come into real estate, you have to invest so much, right? I think people don't realize that. They're just like, oh, you sell a house. It's like, no, we're building a business, we're building a brand, we're building a name within a community. And kind of going back to what we said before, there are so many agents here. What's going to set me apart? right? And I think you really get what you put into it. And so it was a little scary at first. I was like, wait, I'm not even getting paid and I'm investing all this. And I believe it all comes back. So that's my answer.
Nice. Ambry?
I guess getting out of your comfort zone and just diving in essentially and knowing that you're not always going to feel completely ready. And I remember getting my first client within the first week, and I was sitting there saying, I don't know what I'm doing, but I got in thinking too, I have horses and it was a horse property and it was a horse client. So I was like, I feel confident in this. And when we actually closed our first deal, I told her how she was my first client ever. And she said, I would never have known. So I think being able to grab that confidence and be able to believe in yourself is really what it came down to.
Beautiful. Now, Ambry, how did you get the referral? So was it someone in your sphere that
Oh, a
was it someone?
Facebook group. I was on Connecticut horse properties looking for an agent. It was an anonymous poster. And I literally went into Canva, made myself like a little business card and was like, hey, message me. And she did. And now we're great
And
friends.
it worked,
Yeah,
right?
looks for
First
investment
client, and
properties, everything.
see, that was your niche. You knew that, that's the thing that I always tell, what do you do well? Where have you been? PTA, are you in soccer or are you in basketball, in sports, or are you sewing, knitting, whatever? These are your people. That's your community that you need to pursue. And Casey, how about you?
So I have a quote, and it's kind of what I just remind myself anytime something is scary, is that you don't grow when you're comfortable, right? You need to be comfortable with getting uncomfortable, especially if you're looking to grow. There's things I don't enjoy doing. There's things I'm scared to do, the nervous to do, but I have to tell myself, and I tell my agents this all the time, are you more scared of this 30 seconds of being uncomfortable or more scared of being broke? Like, which one would you rather be, scared for 30 seconds, or you want to, what do you want to do? And so that's always the question. Like, I might be scared for this moment, but I'll be, I'm more scared of not succeeding.
Wonderful.
And
And
so that's what I live in
personally,
at any moment.
how's that personally? Has that happened to you? What personal scenario have you experienced where you had to do something that was totally challenging your way of doing things that you're now glad you did?
I mean, I think it's every moment in real estate. I feel like we feel like that all the time. I mean, getting into the business is super scary. Again, there's the sky's the limit, but again, rock bottom is there too. And so taking the leap into the business, I was 25, 26 getting into the business. I come from a little small southern town in North Carolina. I have the North Carolina twang. Our average price point was probably less than $100,000. And my first house I ever sold here was, I thought what, the Richie Rich house should have been at 300,000 back 10 years ago. So it's probably $600,000 now. And so like walking into my first showing and my husband's literally texting me going, this house is near this and this and this. And I was like, my client didn't know I was the first agent to going into this role, imposter syndrome. We live with that every day. I'm not the most experienced agent in my office, right? And so being able to do any of those moments are scary. And I just like, what's worse, Casey, failing or just being uncomfortable for 30 minutes, 30 seconds?
And that's, a great lesson because, for me, it was always making that first call, like, oh my God, what if I screw up in what I say? Or, what if I say the wrong thing? Or just making that call was always so scary for me. So we've all heard opinions about younger professionals throughout the series, some fair and some probably not so fair. So what is one assumption people often make about younger professionals that you wish they would stop making? And I'm going to just let it, whoever wants to answer this one.
I
I
can
think,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead, Gabriela. Start with you.
Well, I think people think that younger means inexperience. And, when I started in the business, I was like, well, I may not have 20 years of experience, but I'm bringing technology and adaptability and energy and willing to learn and to connect. And I see it now where I think that that's something I provide to my clients, right? I'm like, nobody else is going to show this house except me because I'm hungry. I want it. I want to earn your trust. And I think it's just this new energy, right? So it's unfortunate because there are some people that, I work with a guy and he looks all of 20 years old and he's like, how am I ever going to get this? And I said, you just need to put your foot forward and you will build that trust. And it takes, that one, and it's like a domino effect, right? Where somebody has the most amazing experience with you and they're so content. And then it's their referral or their sibling or their family, and then it just kind of reciprocates.
Very true, very true. And it's that just one time that you get that client, and then you realize, and the thing is, you are hungry. You're like, I want this business. I'm going to be the one here every day. I'm going to come to open the door.
Mhm.
Nobody's going to, so I think that's perfect, perfect. Anyone else?
I would actually add to what Gabriela just said. So when I was thinking about this, um, just for those newer agents, for the 19, 20-year-olds, just diving right in, or whatever your age is, just believe in yourself. Like, it's not our job to care about what people assume. It's not our job to care about what they are thinking or they're predetermined. Like, you, be authentic to you and go get them. Like, get out of your head. Get out of your head. You got this.
So wonderful. Wow. And that's the biggest part because you are going to have an audience and you can educate young people about business investment into real estate when it makes sense. Because a lot of times I think the younger generation doesn't realize how critical and how much you can accrue when you buy a home versus that really cool car
Mm.
that you're gonna, last, you're gonna trade in 4 years and get nothing out of it, right? So I think that's really important as well. So this one, I don't want y'all hold back, and I really want practical information. So what's one thing you're doing in your business today that most agents still aren't doing but should be doing? No theory. So anyone, and what's actually working? Like what's something that you tried, oh, but now this is really working. And I'll ask Amber because you kind of
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This one's huge. So, doubling down on client experience, how you make your clients feel. So, and different ways I'm doing that. I put together a client intake form to get ahead of the things. Like, what are they the most excited about? What are they the most apprehensive about? What are their birthdays? What are their pets' names? What are their kids' names, ages? Like, get all of that information in advance. Joe and Letty Torres, that used to be on the REthink, they're alumni. They did these VIP red carpet closings. So we've got a checklist in there. Like, how do you want us to celebrate you? Start thinking about that in advance. And then making them little dog tags, especially. Like, we all love our fur babies so much, but how you treat their kids, how you treat their animals, how you make them feel, that is where I've seen a shift.
and it makes such a difference because you're making it personal to them. Your client is personal, and that's what develops those relationships. I love that, and of course, I know Joe and Letty too, and so amazing, right? That they did so many great, they do so many great things. And Casey,
I would say the big thing that I see right now that needs to be done more is marketing plans for listings. I think we got such into a rhythm for so long. You take your pictures, you do your video, you put it on MLS, you post it on Zillow, and it sells. And now there's still such a stagnant, what do I do after that first couple weeks to go on the market? And I really think agents need to sit down and create a 2 to 4 week marketing plan at the listing appointment or before the listing appointment and have it out showing your sellers, I actually have a plan. I think you're going to stand out showing this is your individual plan for your listing to get it sold today, for the next, 4 weeks, right? Especially in our market. And, that way you're not recreating it and sitting in a computer doing a market update on a Monday going, okay, well, what am I going to do this week to market your house? You already know what you're going to do. And then video, I think, video has been a thing we've been talking about for at least a decade. We got to do more video, but we got such in a habit of just doing this one property video. If homes are sitting on the market longer, we need to take that video and cut it down into smaller sections and repurposing these really long videos. You can't just put it on social media, put it on YouTube and expect it to do anything. You're paying a lot of money for those marketing pieces. Being more creative with the same marketing pieces and using it in different platforms in different ways.
And one
I'm not enthusiastic about it at all.
No, and one thing that you just said that was so important. Number one, you are paying this upfront.
Mhm.
So for the audience out there that doesn't know, all this is coming out of the pocket of the agent that's listing your home. So you want to sell it. So make sure that marketing, I remember Alan Dalton used to talk about that. It's not always price.
No.
It's your marketing. It's your marketing that's not getting that home sold. Where are you actually marketing that property? Who are you approaching? How are you getting people to get eyes on that property? What's making that property unique from others who are
And we
on
have so many
competing
more resources and data that we're able to push to
available,
people to.
right?
Yes. So much more than ever.
Yes. Ambry?
So I guess something I've been implementing more so recently in this past year is that I've been making templates and transaction timelines essentially of what that follow-up's going to look like, what that marketing is going to look like, and getting everything prepared and digging in to properties prior to listing them and digging into my clients too prior to working with them so that we can have a comprehensive plan from the start of where we're going to go with this. And it's not the scrambling, it's not the late night planning. We know what we're going to do. We know what we're going to do in 2 weeks. We know how we're listing this as a coming soon. We know everything up front. And it gives the follow-ups too to the clients so that they feel they're in the loop all the time and not wondering what the next step is. So I used to do big consults for everything. And now I say, no, we're going to do a step by step so that you understand as we're going through this. I'm going to be talking to you prior to you having that next question, but it's being able to keep everyone in the loop, feel as if you're in the correct process with each other.
So the template comes in with step one, step two, step three,
And it's like a
kicking it
mix of
off.
emails, PDF files too, explaining and breaking down the process of what's next. And it is completely customized to that client too.
Oh, I love that idea. Love that. I'd love to see it. I love that idea. And Gabriela, how about you?
Yeah, I think one thing that I'm really working on is being more intentional with my CRM. I use Follow Up Boss, and I used to go to open houses, get their email, give them a tag that said newsletter, and then they got my newsletter maybe once a month. And what I'm trying to really go through is categorize them, whether it's a hot prospect or someone I need to nurture, or first time home buyer, and making the communication more intentional rather than generic. You can, you feel it when you're reading something, you're like, I feel like 100 people got this, or this is really tailored to me and my husband. And, she mentioned our dog and like the dog park next door, or whatever it is. Just being a little bit more intentional rather than these mass groups of communications.
That's genius. Again, anytime you can customize to the client, that's going to bring more opportunity to you and more branding. I love it. So one of the things that I always want to talk about, because people that are in this industry typically are not looking forward. They're actually doing day by day, figuring out, you know, what they're going to do tomorrow, but not 5 years from now. So if I invited you back to Women Who Lead 5 years from now, what would you hope has happened in your life, your business, or your leadership journey? Either one. So again, this is one that I'm going to open to whoever wants to answer this question.
For somebody who's about to send their kid to kindergarten, I don't even think about 5 years because that means I'll have a fifth grader.
It'll happen before you know it, Cayce, whether
Can't even think about that. Having a fifth grader. I have been a big believer of Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices for my entire career. I love our company locally as well as nationally, and just how we collaborate with each other and hold each other up. My biggest goal for my office is just to continue that, right? I want to continue to pour into my agents, no matter what the market is, set them up for success. I want my newer agents that come in, get off the ground running more. I want to be able to help my experienced agents work smarter, not harder, and, helping them set those boundaries. And the ones in the middle, when it comes to those breaks, help them even more too. So that's what my vision is for this office and for the company. It's just a happy place of collaboration, and people, meeting those goals. That's what I want.
beautiful. Anyone else?
I guess for me, it's sustainability. is, I guess, ever since I kind of met this group and became part of REthink, that was my question. How do you make this sustainable? How are you present in your day-to-day life? How are you still fulfilling everything that your clients need? And I think that is something that I'm on the path of for the next 5 years. And, everyone says too, you work in 3 or 5 year terms throughout your life. So what can we implement now? And hopefully I get back to doing hobbies and things that I love and enjoy, because when you do get into being present in those moments, it folds into your business because you are a better individual that's then able to serve your clients.
Are you looking
Yeah.
at maybe expanding a team, going in? Yeah.
So I just hired a nighttime assistant actually. So she works 2 hours a night, and kind of does like my cleanup, right? And that has started to help. But I'm still kind of that helicopter mother over her of saying like this is what I want, or like, figuring it out. But am looking to grab some of that time back.
You're on the right path because that's where it starts, getting that team developed so that you can actually do things that you enjoy, but also that really fulfill the mission that you want within your company and your
Yeah.
business. Gabriela, anyone else?
I would like to speak to this
Okay.
actually. So I was having a late night conversation with ChatGPT, very in-depth, emotional conversation with ChatGPT when I was in the process of starting my real estate team and hiring my first assistant. And I ended up bawling, and like ChatGPT is consoling me, which is funny how that works now. But it turned out outside of pre-planned events, I hadn't given myself a night off in 10 years unless I was sick or I had something already planned where I already was leaving the house for something. I hadn't given myself a night off. And I would never do that to this person that I'm hiring. So scaling, starting the team, buying back my time to spend time with the people who, I mean, our life is so short and it's just gone in a blimp. And I felt like I was missing my life. And I know I'm not the only one out there, probably, likely, at least at times, everyone on this call, and I'm sure people listening to this, but like, that's so important. So buy back your time, start enjoying your life, and that's where I want to be. And clearly, I'm in the process.
You
So,
are today,
yeah.
right? It's so funny because I've actually named Chat Luna. I
Oh,
said, "Hey Luna, help me," because she's like my friend. Like, help me figure this out. So it's gotten to where it's what I remember being at a conference once, and the speaker was big on AI. Like he was one of these, I cannot remember his name, but he was a guru on AI. Everyone knew who he was, and he talked about the the fact that AI more will be more of a psychiatrist psychologist than actual psychiatrists and psychologists because they
wow.
really are there and they listen and they respond to your specific needs, and sometimes you just need someone to listen to and no one wants to listen to you because okay, enough, we don't want you whining or complaining. So it is an amazing tool, and I think really helps you decide on things that you really need to do. You already know you need to do them, but it just gives you that second push, right? So, with that said, believing in you, who has believed in you? I like to always give credit and make sure that we recognize mentors or people that really helped us in this business because sometimes we don't do that. And I think it's important to recognize those that came before us. So, is there anyone that believed in you before you fully believed in yourself? And how did that shape the leader you've become? And feel free to give kudos to whoever you would like. And I'll start with Casey.
Did you see me tearing up? Because I was like, I don't know if I can go first. Oh gosh. I think my husband, right? We just actually yesterday was our 14-year wedding anniversary. We've been
Oh,
together for
congratulations.
19 years, and we moved to Cary, with the dream and empty pockets. And so, he wasn't my partner. I have to give him kudos for believing in me in the moments that I was like, I can't do this anymore. He's like, yes, you can. So him, my sister, she's my sounding board every single day, and she reminds me of why I can do these things. Professionally, like we've talked about imposter syndrome, and I've talked about I'm not the most experienced agent in my office. I have agents that are double the amount of time I've been here. And Maria saw that I was ready for leadership, right? Player Murray was the managing broker who hired me when I was 25 years old coming in. And, again, no money in my pockets, no experience. And he's like, you can do it too. So I've just had so many people cheering me on, and I couldn't do any of this without all of them. So
Beautiful.
God,
And I
try and
love.
take me off the screen.
Where were you before you were? So you said you moved to Cary, but where were you? Are you from Cary originally or not?
So I'm from North Carolina. Me and my husband are both from a little small town called Wadesboro, North Carolina. It's in the Piedmont of North Carolina, but it's on the South Carolina border. So my
I've
husband,
actually been to Wayne.
you've been to Wadesboro? That's crazy.
Yes.
That's insane. Yeah, so we both moved from there and went to Charlotte, and he went to the University of Charlotte to get his degree in engineering, and then he got a job in Raleigh, and so we moved from Charlotte to Raleigh. And I was kicking and screaming because I was, a spouse that was helping my husband travel for work, and I was like, Charlotte, we want to stay in Charlotte. And I love Apex, I love Cary, I love Raleigh, so I'm happy where I'm at. But
A really nice area. I love it
yeah.
too. Ambre?
So I guess I actually signed up for my classes on my boyfriend's birthday, because I said, I need something different. We need to build something together. What can we do? He's an electrician. And, I watched him build his company and I was like, do you have me? Can I do this? Like, and he was like, yeah. And like, I remember telling my mom I was going into real estate, and we had a joint bank account that she was watching, and she's like, oh gosh, do I have to send her money? Like, I see it going down. But it was like one of those moments that you were like, my partner in this life believes in me. And I learned too really quickly that building your network, it didn't have to be someone in your office all the time. It was different agents that you were meeting throughout the process. Now rethink, like it was just building that network that believed and wanted to watch you grow, that made that big difference. That you then are like, okay, I've got this. I've got these people in my corner and they believe in me.
I always think that your network is your net worth because that network really helps you build your business because of the confidence and trust that they have in you and that they bring to you, right? You're like, so beautiful. I love that. Gabriela, I love your name, Gabriela.
Oh, thank you. I like how you say it. I would say my family, from the beginning, I got my real estate license and I did my first transaction. They were like, this job was made for you. And I'm thinking it was, it's kind of like that internal person in you asking like, can I do this? Is this for me? And then they're like, yeah, they're the cheerleaders. Also, I have a 5 and a 7-year-old boy, and I'm a full-time mom. And that it's a lot. It's a lot, and I work every weekend. I am working 3 open houses this weekend, and I just commit to that because I know that I get my business from open houses and I enjoy it. It's like an organic way to meet people, and that's what's worked for me. And so as a result, that means that my family is taking care of my kids, and I'm working on the balance, right? Trying to, hey, I should be working, right? When I'm at T-ball practice because that is my network, right? Those are relationships I'm building. But I would just say my family has supported me from day one, and they always will. And that's, kudos to them. So
Oh, are your boys also in real estate?
yeah, they will be.
I always say they're in real estate because they're helping you with signs and everything.
It's so funny. I'll actually share my son struggles with writing. But he was 6 and he wrote, I want money to buy a bigger house. Like that was what he worked on. I was like, where did that come from? And it's like, well, apple doesn't fall from the tree.
So cute. Amber? Well,
Yes. So Nick Olson, actually, I was in leadership with him at the state and local level, and he really nudged me to do VP for our local association, which then, leads to president of your local association, and a lot of travel and a lot of leadership development and deepening those relationships. And at that point in time, I was seriously considering forgetting Sarah Marshall and ducking out of real estate and moving to an island and being a bartender or something. I'm like, I don't know if this is for me. He's like, you should do this. And I'm like, I need to think about that. And I did, and I ended up giving it a shot. And I'm so glad I did. I mean, it's really launched my career and my leadership in general, overall.
And so which real estate association are you working in?
So we actually connected more, even though we were in the same local, which is Fargo Moorhead Area Association of Realtors. We connected more at the state level, which is North Dakota Association of Realtors. And then he's like, you got to run for VP of local. You got to do this. And I was like, are you sure? I don't know if I'm in the right headspace right now, but it all worked out.
It does. I love one of my favorite movies, Forgetting, Sarah Marshall. So again,
Yes.
beautiful, beautiful, right? Because it's something you did that was out of your comfort zone, and look at where you are now. So that's what I think with the Rethink Council too, because a lot of times people think it's going to take a time and away from your business, but it's actually such a great group. I started working, I was with the Rethink Council when I first started as an advisor, and I just love all the work that y'all do, and also the ideas that you exchange, and the friendships that you make for life. For life. So that's always going to be the way it's going to be. So one thing that I really love, because I love tech and I love learning tools. So what's one tool, one app, an AI platform, a social media strategy, that has helped you work smarter, build relationships, or grow your business right now? And I really want y'all to be very specific, because for a lot of people, those apps, if they don't know it or never use them, I think it's golden. So,
I've got a great one.
okay,
Can I hop in? Okay.
absolutely.
So I'm training, right? Scaling, growing Carlton and Co., my real estate team, training my assistant. I will show in person one time and I record it while I'm training. So it gets all the things you're clicking on, it gets everything. And I've created an entire vlog tutorial system to have for my assistant to reference, and for anyone who joins the team. I will still show anybody one time, and then you're going to go use the system and it'll walk them through step by step, something that you probably would have had to show them 7 times easily.
And what's the
So
name of the?
it's just Zoom. Just use Zoom
Okay,
and
you
hit
got it. So you
record.
record your whole,
You
yeah, like let me
record
show
what
you
you're
this.
doing
Yeah.
on, here's how we're going to fill out a contract. Here's how we're
Mhm.
going to upload a listing. Here's how we're going to whatever. Record it. Record it while you're showing them, and then they will have that for forever. Put it in a Google
Great.
Drive. It's brilliant.
Great tool. Great tool. That's the key. Casey.
So I met Rajiv Saja in March of 2025. He's now my new bestie. We've been besties since then. And I was not tapping into AI, right? I was like, I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it. Only thing I heard about it was people using it for listing descriptions, and they were way too long and nobody's gonna read them. And then I went to a presentation he did, and it completely changed my life. So my answer is going to seem very bland, because it's going to say ChatGPT has completely changed how I work. But what I would say is this: you have to personalize it. And I don't mean like tell it when you're in a chat that, hey, personalizing it for each chat that you do or new search. You have to go into the bones and the settings of your ChatGPT and completely customize them. It always agrees with you, right? So it's kind of like, oh, that was the best marketing plan ever, Cayce. And I was like, okay, no, it wasn't.
Be
Try.
brutal. Be
You got to
brutal.
brutal, right? You have to make it not agree with you. You have to tell it what you're wanting, how you want it to respond, how it wants to give you ideas, what your personality is. And that's why I won't move to another one, because I'm like, I have got mine so tuned into. The only reason my agents know it's ChatGPT emailing them is because as a person, they know I'm going to send one sentence in an email, not a whole email, but it's definitely transformed how I organize information, how I communicate it, but you have to customize it. So mine's name is Lexi. So we talk about, and she runs on caffeine and sarcasm
24/7. Right.
24/7, and she's a Virgo, because Virgos are the best hardworking people ever. So I told her, how do you?
That's great. That's great.
So mine's ChatGPT, but you have to make it work for you. You have to take the time to customize it. And once you do, it will be the best running system for you.
Beautiful. Love it. Ambre?
So I was using chat, and recently I've been seeing all those ads, right? So you have to feed into an ad. And I saw about Claude. So I downloaded Claude. I uploaded it to my Canva, connected all my apps, uploaded Gmail so that it's kind of sifting through emails, drafting, I started using it to kind of implement the templates that I do have to schedule send out based on a contract that we got accepted so that it kind of is starting to implement having an AI assistant as well. So I'm playing around with that because the time I'm saving, giving it the prompt, but now, like Casey said, I'm going back to teach it because it wants you to pull from chat all of your history and what it knows about you. But when I prompted chat said it wasn't possible because I think it knows that you're trying to transfer over. So just trying to set that up, see what it actually is doing. But it does. It gives me like daily reports of what my emails are flowing. Hey, it's prepped this for me. Have you followed up on that? And it's kind of giving me a new way of processing my day to day.
And it's so I love Claude. I use everything. But I will tell you one thing that you can do is export your chat, all your conversations, and it will actually download it and send it to you and by email, and then you can import that into Claude.
Okay. I'll have to
So
do.
it's amazing because then Claude gets to know you better and
Yeah.
understand what you're looking for. But I use all of them because I think it's important to, each one of them has a specialty, a
Mhm.
strength. It's like I mean, this is their strength and this is their strength. And, like chat doesn't really do good with images or graphics
Right.
or presentations, whereas Claude does an incredible job creating phenomenal presentations. So, Gabriela, how about you?
Well, I'm over here chuckling, just kind of what Amber said like 10 minutes ago about chat. Like, if I read everything I told chat, they'd be like, girl, are you okay? Because they are there for everything. And it is the unbiased, safe thing. But you are asking questions at like 2 in the morning, right? Like, I yelled at my son like this. Do you think he's going to be okay? Right. So, all of that, I use chat. I haven't really explored into other AI platforms, but I am looking forward to doing that. And, I do think kind of everybody kind of touched on, how AI is amazing, but I do still write my own communication and I help it refine my communication. I help it organize my ideas and think through strategies, but it doesn't replace the relationship, right? I still want it to be me. And one thing I learned that is that double dash on ChatGPT, that's not on your keyboard. So I didn't know that. But if you ever see that, you know that that was copied from ChatGPT. That is not, nobody wrote that. And so I think more and more you can kind of feel it out. And I don't want to lose that like real relationship, right? My tone, who I am. When I write an email, it is speaking from my mind. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Oh, my kids are driving me nuts. Da, 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 da. It's not super polished, but that's what I want to be. I don't want to be some machine just feeding, word perfect every idea out there. So
Well, I love that every one of you gave some great recommendations, and I could not, agree with you on more with everything. Even writing your own stuff, even when you use the tools, I always say, I don't want you to change my words. This is me, and you need to understand this is me. And so don't judge my word, just correct any grammatical errors I might have that I haven't noticed, right?
mhm.
And those sentencing. So it's more. So that is the great thing about AI, that it can actually help you, but you are the one, you are leading the conversation. You're the one that's managing everything. So let's switch perspectives for a moment because this one's really important to me because I know I've had to do this with a lot of, when I was selling real estate, I would talk to a lot of 25-year-olds that, were in, didn't really want to buy a home right now. They didn't think it was even something that they were, because they thought if I buy a home, I'm stuck here, right? I can't just move and do things. Now it's changed a lot because now you have remote working, which is possible for so many people, but they're still hoping to do other things first. Oh, I want to travel first, or I want to, this is my dream car, Maserati, blah, blah, blah. So what's the first step you tell them to take, even if they're nowhere near ready to buy? What do you tell them?
I'll jump in. You don't need to be ready to buy. You just need to start preparing for when you are. And I think knowledge is power. I'm really good friends with my lender, and we always say it's not what you're pre-qualified or that number, it's your purchasing power. And one thing I tell people, especially in Santa Barbara, where it's a very expensive market and our entry level is $1 million plus, we all live somewhere, we all pay rent, right? So what does that look like if you were to purchase? And it's just preparing, right? It's preparing for the future. If you say, oh, if I save, $500 a month for X amount of time and this amount of time, I could purchase a home. And it doesn't have to be your forever home. It's just a foot in the door. But I think speaking with a lender is free. It's motivating. It kind of opens your world to what's possible. So I always tell people, go speak to a lender. You're going to do yourself a favor before even real estate. And then you can just understand the market, right? I can send you emails and you can understand the market, but I think speaking with a lender is like your first touch point.
Ah, beautiful. Always speak to a lender. You don't always have to have 20%. That's just a mistake of thinking. And, of course, it reduces your monthly payment, but it's impossible in markets like Santa Barbara to gather 20% if your entry point's $1.5 million or more. Anyone else, as we
I
Yeah,
was
wrap?
going to say, go ahead, Amber.
okay. Just hopping in real quick. Knowing your market, I actually just did an interview with the BIA, which is our Home Builders Association, Building Industry Association. And our average sales price in 1 year went up 18,000. So the cost to wait, thinking about the cost to wait. And that's just the sales price increase, not counting what equity they're losing in their home. So thinking about that, I love Lawrence Yoon, chief economist with NAR. I mean, he's got stats that he looks at every single year, and the most recent data is showing $430,000 is the average wealth of a homeowner, whereas a renter, it's 10,000. It's 43,000 times more because people often don't touch that equity that's sitting in their home. And it is like Gabriela said, just you got to get in the game. Like you got to get your foot in the door and have a plan to move up. For our market personally, if you're in that home for 2 years, you're probably pretty safe. Now, if you're not planning on being there and you're not willing to rent it out or anything for 2 years, sure, you might want to look at waiting, but just giving them all of that information up front so they can really make an educated decision, I think is so helpful.
And I always say, if you're going to wait, don't rent in the most expensive place.
No.
Rent cheaper and put that money away because then you
Yeah.
can buy, So,
Yeah, I
Stacey?
agree with you.
Yeah.
What I was going to say was, I have very few regrets in life. I'm really lucky with that. I'm very happy with most of my decisions, but one of them is waiting to buy, right? I wish that, when me and Dallas lived in Charlotte for 4 years when he was in school, we didn't go anywhere. We stayed in the same apartment, right? The entire 4 years we didn't even move. I wish we would have bought because then we could have bought in, the Cary area, taken that equity and moved to Cary, and then had even, and everybody says it here, if I would have known what today, what was the prices were going to change to, I would have bought 10 of them. Right.
Yes.
And so that's
Biggest
why
regret.
biggest regret is not buying sooner. And, I think we haven't with our buyers, at 25, they picture their first home, this 5 bed in our market, this 5 bedroom house that's got the granite and the quartz and the stainless steel open floor plans. And, that's not house one. Nobody usually starts out, at least here, like that. And, buy what you can buy right now and get in the game, because I'm pretty sure they threw out the stats. I saw it, NAR said, is projected by 2050 that the average home in America will be 1.2 million.
So the more, yeah. And I
Get
love
in the
that
game.
you just said, get in the game. And also, like you were saying, it's important to jump in early and buy what you can afford, because look at your apartment and buy an apartment like that. Do what you're not buying that big house because you're not living in that big. Instead of being in that big, buy an apartment that you own versus the apartment that you're renting, right? All right,
Yeah.
we're almost out of time. So my last question is, I always ask, what's a book, podcast, guide, or guiding principle that really has influenced your life or career? And I'll start with you, Gabriela, and then I'll move toward everyone else as we end the podcast.
So My parents always told me this. They said, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You have to be willing to learn, take action, and keep showing up. And I think that that goes a long way because it's just about consistency, putting your best foot forward, giving the energy. And again, you get out what you put in. And so I, every day believe that and go.
Love that guiding principle. Love it. Ambry.
Do it scared. You have to just step forward, do it, figure it out. And, there's always going to be a point that you have to go back and figure out, was this the right move? Was it not? But if you don't just do it, you're not going to grow and figure out what was meant to be.
You're going to fall and then you get up and do
Yep.
it again. Do something different. I like that. Amber?
Yes. So I'm going to quote Audrey Hepburn. Nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm
Possible.
possible.
I know. I love that's one of
Love
my
her.
favorites. So
Goat.
love
Yes.
it. And Cayce, as we end, I'll end with you.
My daily reminder, I have a bracelet that says just bloom, and it's come from my favorite quote. A flower does not think of competing with a flower next to it. It just blooms, right? It's my favorite. In this industry, we are constantly holding ourselves up to what everybody else is doing. And I, like we talked about earlier, I love a goal. Okay. I want to crush it, but I'm just worried about what Cayce's doing. I'm not worried about what everybody else is doing. And you have to, like, it's easy to be like, oh, they're doing this, I need to be doing that. And they're doing this, I need to be doing that.
You do
Chase
you.
your
I
flower.
like that. I love that. I had not heard that saying. So that's beautiful. It's a new one. So, first of all, I want to thank all of you. You were amazing. And as we close this chapter, there's something that I hope everyone has taken away from these four individuals that have spoken in this conversation that we've had. I always think that the future of leadership isn't somewhere off in the distance. It's already here. Just look at all of you. I love it. So all our next, leaders, thank you for sharing your voices, your ideas, and your stories from all of part one, part two, and now part three. I know we've got more to learn from you because Berkshire Hathaway Home Services highlights the REthink Council members on a regular basis. So we will let our audience know anytime that they're broadcasting, so you're aware of all the great things that we're doing in our organization. And I want to remind everyone about the 5-year question. Make sure that you've got that 5-year idea together. Where do you want to be in the next 5 years? Just don't wait 5 years to become the person you hope to be, 5 years from now, and start today. So before we go, mark your calendars because we have 2 more conversations coming. Diversity Matters returns on August 26th, and then I'll be back with a brand new Women Who Lead episode on September 9th. I hope all that you'll be able to join me for both. Until then, keep building, keep leading, and keep creating the impact that lasts. And because your voice matters, your leadership matters, and the work you're doing matters more than you know. I'm Teresa Palacios Smith, and this is our Women Who Lead. Thank you for joining us. Thank you all. I'll see you next time. Bye.